This might be my new favorite value for money wet and dry vacuum cleaner. Let's find out more. Today we're going to take a look at the Mova M10 wet and dry vacuum cleaner, and I'm going to tell you why I think it might be the best value for money wet and dry vacuum cleaner. Before we start, this is a sponsored review. Mova did send me the product for free. However, it's still a review. It's not a sponsored overview or showcase. Matter of fact, Mova did not even see any script or doesn't even know what I'm going to say. So I will still be sharing my complete, honest, and unbiased opinion of the product. So let's get started with a few of the features of the M10. For starters, it is lightweight and very easy to maneuver. It does not have self-propelled wheels. That is, the wheels themselves don't have separate motors that propel the machine forward. However, it does have self-propulsion, and that's by using the rotating brush roll, and moving it and maneuvering it is very easy. As you can see, if I just put it on the floor, you can see it's just driving itself forward even without having dedicated motorized wheels. What also helps is the fact that the clean water tank is at the base rather than at the body of the machine, which means it has a lower center of gravity, and that alongside the self-propulsion from the brush roll make pushing it and moving it around really effortless. I also love how agile it is. The head swivels 90 degrees, and as you can see, it really swivels significantly both left and right direction, making using this even more enjoyable and easy. It also has 180-degree lay flat capability with a clearance of about 14 centimeters, so it can go under your tables, your chairs, etc., which is really good. It also has tangle-free technology so that you don't get tangled hair on the brush roll, which is a nightmare. And I will put this through an actual test in my cleaning test later on, and you're going to see how well it actually works. The clean water tank has a capacity of 800 milliliters, and as I said, it's on the base, which is great. And the dirty water tank has a capacity of 700 milliliters, both of which are pretty decent capacities. It has 3 cleaning modes: an auto mode, which uses a sensor to adjust automatically the power level of the vacuum according to how much dirt or debris is on the floor, and you see that visualized over here on the screen with a bar that goes to orange and red, which indicates the level of debris that you're going over. It has an ultra mode, which uses electrolyzed water for deeper cleaning. Now, as I've said in my previous reviews, I can't comment on the effectiveness of electrolyzed water, nor do I have the capabilities to test out if it's doing any deep cleaning or not. However, I was slightly disappointed that the ultra mode is not really a turbo mode or a max mode. That is, it does not kick the machine into higher power or higher concentration of water being used, which would have been nice. On the other hand, I was very happy to see not only that they have a suction-only mode, which is a mode that does not use any water, but rather sucks water off of the floor, but that it is actually true suction mode. And what I mean by that, a lot of the machines do have a suction mode, but they still dispense a little bit of water on the brush roll, which is not really a big deal if you're drying water off of the floor. However, it could be a problem if you're using it on a carpet or as a dry vacuum, although it's not intended to be. And this is where a lot of people prefer that the suction only mode is pure suction, that is, there's absolutely no water, and very few machines have that. And I'm happy to see that the Mova actually, as you can see in the suction mode, dispenses absolutely no water, and then the water only starts coming out when I switch to auto mode. The M10 has a runtime of 40 minutes, and in that part was actually impressive. It cleans the brush roll with hot water at 75 degrees and then dries it at 75 degrees Celsius, and I actually tested those claims in my cleaning tests. Speaking of which, let's see how it performs in the cleaning tests. Starting off with the coffee stain test, this is coffee that was left out for 12 hours, and as you can see from the first pass, it gets almost all of the coffee out. I purposely poured the coffee close to the edge to see the edge cleaning performance, and it did a fairly good job at around 11 millimeters, which is not bad. Next up, dried ketchup stain, and this is a very tough stain to get out. All wet and dry vacuums struggle to get it out, but the Mova, despite it taking multiple attempts, did eventually get it out, as was expected. Now, you're more likely to encounter a fresh ketchup stain like this one, and effortlessly from the first pass, the Mova gets all of that stain out. Next up, milk and cereal, and again, absolutely no issues from the first pass. It gets all the milk and the chunks of cereal out. This is where you can see the automatic sensor in action with the bar changing from green to orange to red depending on the level of dirt. And this is where all the dirty water was collected. And one small nice thing I liked about this and their attention to detail, with a lot of these models, you have to pull up the cover with force, and sometimes it's difficult to open it. With the Mova, as soon as you lift the handle up, it releases the cover effortlessly, which is great. And this is where all the solid was collected, and it did an excellent job at collecting almost all of the solid. And this is where all the dirty water was collected, and as you can see, no solid fell through and all this nasty water was sucked up. And this is what the brush roll looked like after all these cleaning tests. And as you can see, it is stained. There is traces of the ketchup over here. Now let's put it back on the base, run that cleaning session and see how effective it is with the hot water. And here you have the option of normal self-cleaning with hot water, which takes around 3 minutes, or deep self-cleaning with hot water, which takes 5 minutes.
Start quick self-cleaning with hot water. Press the self-cleaning button within 3 seconds to start deep self-cleaning with hot water.
I wanted to see first how effective the normal self-cleaning is, so I ran that, and here I was very surprised to see steam coming out. That's the first time I see that, indicating, well, hot water. So of course I was curious to see how hot this cleaning is, so I got my thermal camera, and this is the reading that I got. It was at, or even at times more than 75 degrees, which is the advertised claim, which means indeed it is cleaned with hot water. Now here you see only parts of the brush roll are radiating heat, and that was because it was at the beginning of the cycle, but once it ran through the cycle, all of the brush was hot. So just to double check as well, I removed the brush roll, and this is where it collects the water in the base. And again, you're seeing a reading of over 70 degrees, which confirms the claims hot water cleaning, which was awesome. That aside, was it effective? Well, let's find out. Do keep in mind this was the standard deep cleaning with hot water. And as you can see, it did an excellent job at removing the stains. There's barely any visible staining, perhaps just a little bit on the far left side where there was a lot of ketchup, but barely visible. But I was curious to see how the deep cleaning does, so I put the brush roll back in and I ran the deep cleaning session, which takes around 5 minutes. And this is what the brush roll looked like after the deep cleaning session. Perfectly clean, absolutely no stains, which was remarkable. Here I did notice that the brush roll was about 90 to 95% dry after the cleaning sessions, and that was before the drying session had started. So I ran it again and I monitored what was happening. And apparently when you do a deep cleaning, the last minute and a half or 2 minutes, there will be some drying of the brush roll. And then after the cleaning is done, you go into a 5-minute quick drying mode rather than the 30-minute drying session that happens after the regular cleaning is selected, which was quite the interesting discovery. So you get a either 30-minute or a 5-minute drying session, which is great. And either way, the brush roll was dried 100% after both sessions. Both drying sessions had a sound level of a little over 50 decibels, which is not too loud, but slightly more than what I would like, especially if you're sitting in the same room with the machine. Another pleasant surprise, throughout the last minute and a half or 2 minutes of that deep cleaning, there's hot air that's blowing on the dirty water tank and on the filter, which dries them out, which was also something great to discover. And just to show you after that cleaning session, this is all the water that was extracted from the brush roll. Now the last test I wanted to check is the anti-hair tangle. So I put a lot of hair on the floor, as you can see, large strands of hair. And to my pleasant surprise, there was absolutely no hair that was caught on the brush roll, 100% tangle free, which was great. And when you open the dirty water tank, all the hair was caught in the dirty filter, which was also great. So here are my thoughts on the Mova M10. I'm going to start with what I did not like before I tell you what I did like, and that's a very short and small list, and arguably for many people inconsequential. But if I was to be a little bit picky, there are essentially 2 things or 3 things I did not like, or I would have liked were different with the M10. The first one is, as I said, there's no turbo mode. So I would have liked if there was a max or turbo mode that kicks the machine manually into higher power without having to rely on the automatic sensor. So it would have been nice if we had that as a 4th mode, or if the ultra mode was also, in addition to the electrolysis of water, a maximum mode in terms of water output and suction. And the second thing I wish was different, you cannot manually trigger the drying mode. You have to first go through the brush cleaning cycle, which is followed by drying mode. Whereas with a lot of machines, you can simply press and hold the self-cleaning button to start only the drying mode. Now, again, these are minor things and probably not deal breakers or even consequential for many people. But if I was to be picky, these are 2 things I would have liked if they were done differently. And the third thing is the 30-minute drying is a little bit on the louder side of things. Granted, if it is in another room, you're not going to hear it most likely. But if you're sitting with it in the same room, 30 minutes at that sound level is a bit high. However, the good thing that counters that point, or in a way nullifies it, is that if you do a deep cleaning session, then you get a 5-minute drying session, which is completely fine even at that sound level. So these are the 3 things I would have liked if they were done differently, but more importantly, what I liked about the machine, and there's a lot to like about it. Let me start with a few things that don't really matter, but they really show attention to detail and design by Mova, which I really appreciated. In addition to having a nice design and good build quality, there's a couple of things that really show Mova's attention to detail and design decisions, which I really appreciated. For starters, when you put the machine on the base, the screen shifts orientation so that when you're facing it, you can read the battery level the right way up, which was a nice touch. Speaking of the screen, when you're running the drying session, whether it's the 5-minute or the 30-minute one, you get a percentage completion on the screen as well to give you an idea how much time is still remaining, which was also a nice touch. More attention to detail, there's that wheel over here so that when you're laying flat completely and rolling the machine on the floor, it's going to help glide it forward, which again is nice attention to detail. But beyond these small minor things, there's a lot to like about the machine. Firstly, maneuvering it is very easy and the head swivels quite well, which is something I like. The cleaning performance, as you saw in the cleaning test, was pretty good. The anti-hair tangle performance was spectacular. As you saw, I put a lot of hair and long strands of hair, and absolutely none of them got stuck to the brush roll, which was amazing. It did a great job at cleaning the brush roll, as you saw, but also it uses aqua water at 75 degrees to clean, which is great as well. The filter in the dirty water tank that captures the solids was really well implemented, and it caught almost all the solids, which is not always the case with a lot of the different designs in the market. So that as well did really well, and I was happy to see that design. And the true suction mode with absolutely no water dispensed is probably a plus to a lot of users as well. And lastly, cherry on top, Mova is offering a 3-year warranty on these machines, which is also pretty rare. Now the best part, all these things that I said I absolutely loved about the machine, they all come in a machine that is very reasonably priced and actually significantly cheaper than a lot of the competitors out there that offer either the same set of features or at times even less features. And this is why in the intro I said this very well could be my new favorite value for money wet and dry vacuum. I will put links in the description so you can check out the price at the moment you're watching this. That's all for me. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel, as this encourages me to continue producing content. Until next time, cheers.